All right, Thunder Timberwolves. One man has a beautiful Thunder to win the West ticket. One man is clinging to a basketball god storyline. That man is me on a Timberwolves Knicks basketball god series. But in all seriousness, game one reaction. We talked about it last segment for a tick. Sean, I'll tee you up here. You've been all over the Thunder all year. A lot of it's coming to fruition. They had 1 day off from a Game 7 afternoon dance to pack in Minnesota, who had all the advantages in the world if we're going off rest. And all right, very humble, 42-40 first half, went under. It was defensive, 2 top 5 D chess match.
Yep.
And then the Thunder do what they always have done here all season and all playoffs, pick a quarter or pick a spot to just blow you out of the water. So just throwing it to you, game one reactions, Thunder in the driver's seat.
Anthony Edwards wants to play on the perimeter, and you can't do that against them. That's flat out the bottom line. This is the best perimeter defense we've seen in a long time. It may be the best defense we've seen in the last, I don't know, man. I don't know the number. I don't want to be hyperbolic and be a man of the moment, but defensively, the rotations, nothing is easy for them, and it's demoralizing. Steph Curry pulling up from 3 in those prime games in transition was demoralizing when it went through. Crowd's going crazy. Oracle is coming off the hinges.
Yeah.
Timeout. It's just an avalanche. They do that defensively where they turn you over and you just can't. They're just relentless. Caruso comes off the bench. He's relentless. It was to the point where Anthony Edwards only had 13 shots in the game and shot once in the fourth. And the only explanation for that is he was a little squeamish. He didn't want to deal with it anymore. That's the only way you can explain that.
He's a mental they got in his head mentally.
This is extremely difficult every possession.
Well, when he wears his emotion on his sleeve, he even said, too, perimeter D prevalent. He also said, though, sometimes they go 4 in the box, and there's no space for him to impose his will, which is a big part of this game.
And that's what he said. He said sometimes they trap, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they jam up the lanes, sometimes they don't.
Let me ask you about
And by the time you figured it out, they've now rotated back to covering off on where they were doubling from. So you go to the hole, it looks like there's 100 people there, and then okay, then we must. Then you get the ball out, it starts to rotate, and then they just rotate out. So it's just phenomenal defense, and if you're not hitting shots when you do get open looks, they're gonna bury you. And the difference between SGA and Ant in game one, SGA started the game in the first half was 2 of 13, missed his first shot in the second half, was 2 of 14 to start the game, never let up. Still got to the line, still continued to put shots up, and it turned for him in the second half. It turned for J-Dub in the second half. They were just relentless. The difference between SGA and Ant slowed up, stopped getting the volume up. SGA didn't. He ends up scoring 31 or 32 points. But
how do you feel about Mark and his coaching staff deep in their bag? Let's talk this out. Obviously, they got pieces galore. They're as deep as the Pacers, arguably the deepest team in the league. You don't see Kenrich Williams. You don't see Isaiah Joe in the second round. Kenrich Williams had a massive 3 and another bucket. He had 5 straight points. Isaiah Joe was prevalent. I think Casey Wallace had 6 times. Talk to me about just a little chestnut checkers with that, because Finch is a very good game one coach. You look at the straight up and the against the spread, and he's a very good matchup defensive guy. And I thought Mark outcoached him in game one. What say you on that side of thing, knowing the Thunder very well?
Yeah, they gave SGA the MVP on TNT, and Barkley asked him. Barkley as a probably wasn't joking. He was like, I don't even know who that dude is. He comes in and hits 2 3. He goes like, who's number 34? He comes in, hits a 3, and gets a bucket.
Talking about Kenrich?
Yeah, but Kenrich Williams. And then SGA they asked him about Dagnall, how does he keep everybody fresh? And he's like, Dagnall always lets everybody know, the lineups are never going to be the same. We're going to throw a lot of different people in the game and at you. And they've been doing that all year long, so it's easy to buy in and be ready.
Looking at SGA versus Ant-Man, it's a fascinating storyline. What I loved with Edwards, just talking micro, macro, quarter one, he throws the ball at SGA on the ground. He's already exhausted at the foul baiting.
Yeah.
I loved that. I'm like, oh, this Minnesota team has to go a little boxing, podium type spiel with it. They have to, we said Detroit has to muck it up against the Knicks. They need to make it one of those type things and, pick on the youth of OKC. And they didn't really take the bait, man, and I was a little shocked by that.
Remember what I said. The only way I think OKC doesn't win the West is if they bump into the Warriors and Jimmy Butler just intimidates of them, and they're like scared of Jimmy type of thing. Or they play a team like Minnesota, Ants yelling, Ants throwing the ball at people.
A little bit of bullying.
He's trying to bully punk guys like Isaiah Joe, Case, and Wallace. But I think the difference here is, and why it's so interesting is, and why I was arguing with you, is I think they're a little more battle-tested than people want to give them credit for. Isaiah Hartenstein is coming from 2 phenomenal series with the Knicks, was battle-tested in that. Caruso has a title. And I believe
valuable.
I believe all these other younger guys, Wallace, Wiggins, Joe, Chet, look at SGA as like a god. No, that's strong. But they look at him as the leader, and he's our guy, and it helps them become unflappable. Like, you can kind of bully us, do whatever you want, but like, I'm going to be able to get the ball to SGA. And he's
which drives me nuts because, and I'm going at it with Thunder people on the internet. I'm getting dragged, and I'm going down with Minnesota. The SGA FIBA Canadian version of him, they didn't even medal. Sure, it might have been on Jamal Murray. Where is the conviction on the Canadian basketball team around this man as a leader? I'm flabbergasted at the drop-off.
A different roster.
I know, but I'm making a half joke, but sure. This guy's supposed to be the bona fide leader at the point guard position, best in the league, at least this year, and I don't see it internationally at all. I'm blown away. Now, I guess on the Minnesota side of things, Naz Reid, did he have a basket? Dang near goose egg. Dante's got to give you more. And Julius Randle, hot start, a little bit non-existent second half as well. Any pendulum swinging, positive thoughts, I know you're on OKC, but any hope from a Minnesota perspective off of game one?
I would say that one thing they can lean on is that Rudy was in foul trouble come the second half.
He was.
And that was before that, they were in the game pretty good. Randall was going crazy at 5 threes. Are they going to be able to get that from Randall again? I'm not sure. If you're a betting person, this is one of those spots tonight where Anthony Edwards is going to get up 25, 26 shots. I would look at Anthony Edwards' points, PRA.
Yeah, I like that.
Under assists. Like, he's going to get up a lot of looks tonight without question.
And mention the SGA whistle thing, because that's a good point, too.
Yeah, the whistle thing. This is how it typically goes. You get a really good whistle in game one. Everyone complains about it. Some of it may make it to the league office, either from different channels, we'll call it, and the whistle's a little tougher in game two. But I think there's a lot of worlds where SGA can also circumvent that and still get to the line. The one thing I was worried that the Thunder wouldn't be able to do was get lobs to Chet and get lobs to Hartenstein and those types of things. And they were able to do that. Rudy has to be on the floor. Rudy has to stay on the floor. And you're going to have to get a lot of shots from your role players and Naz. But I've been telling you guys, man, this team defensively,
you've been telling us all year,
is relentless, bro. They do not let up every single possession. And you know that the old adage in football of, like, you hear corners say, like, they're never gonna call pass interference on me 2 times in a row.
You think that's how the Thunder are operating?
Like, that's what Chris Finch thinks. Remember a couple months back, he was like, they're really hard to play against because they foul you so much that it's just tough to deal with. They are extremely physical. The foul will be called, and they're right back to it the next possession. We're going to make you foul us, the whole squad out kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, they're very good defensively. There's not a lot of pressure on Chet to produce a lot of points. SGA is doing the heavy lift, and then
So the Thunder are going to
defer
win
to
this
the
game.
shooters.
The Thunder are going to win this game off of just playing better defense and being the more physical team, essentially. Because this is, from a handicap perspective, this is 2 top 5 defenses from the regular season in points against. Thunder were 1, I think Mini was 5, and they're both top 5 perimeter defenses. Thunder having the lead in that spot as well. When you go into intermission, game 1, 42-40, I'm going, that's a Minnesota advantage type half. Did you feel that way at all? And does Minnesota maybe try to, again, embody that first half style? Because that might be their only shot.
Real quick, it was 48-44 and going to halftime, but then the second half was 70-40.
70-40. Yeah. So
Surreal.
how do you beat OKC? Go back and look at the last couple of years in the playoffs. What did Dallas do? They had Luka that was going ballistic. He was scoring 35 a night. And then P.J. Washington and Derrick Jones Jr. as role players were knocking down everything from 3. And they eked out of that series. You look at Denver. They had a hard time with Jokic in certain pockets of that series. But when Jokic is going to score 30, depending on how efficiently he does it, is a key. But then if AG's hitting shots and Christian Brown's hitting shots, and then you throw in a couple jumpers from Strother, then next thing you know, Oklahoma City's in trouble. If Dante's hitting threes and Naz Reid's hitting threes, you just need like really streaky performances to beat the Thunder. That's why they're so difficult, and that's why I don't see anyone dealing with them. If the Pacers play the Thunder, they are getting dusted off.
Indiana?
The Indiana Pacers would get dusted, and the Knicks would have a really hard time on the perimeter. Cat would have to be inside, and Mitchell Robinson would have to have 10, 12 rebounds a game for the Knicks to win that series. All this perimeter running around play that like Indiana plays, and that a lot of the times Anthony Edwards and the Minnesota Timberwolves plays into the Thunder's hands.
If the Thunder were embodied a championship NFL defense over our lifetime, who are they to you? Because I am trying
the
to
85 Bears. I mean, they're phenomenal on defense. This is the most talented offensive era we've ever seen, and they stifle dudes.
Because
extremely difficult.
I consistently go, how is Cason Wallace, Kenrich Williams, Isaiah Joe, these dudes off the bench going to give them enough offensively?
Well,
I don't even think it's about that.
But I think the roles are so defined, and they get open looks.
They do get open looks because
SGA
SGA
like
draws.
Cason Wallace is ISOing. It's not like Isaiah Joe is ISOing guys.
Lou Dart gets this
It's just like
open threes.
They're getting open looks, and they play D, and they rebound, and they run.
So it's just almost to the Brunson Knicks comp because he's such a good quarterback for their team. The SGA model around these guys where I'm going to drive, draw 2, kick it out, or draw a foul. It's just the perfect MO for this style.
It's draw foul.
Talk me out of losing more money on Minnesota.
But listen to the versatility. Listen to how they've been doing this all year. It's SGA, get to his spot, and get a mid-range jumper where it feels like it's a 65% chance it's going in.
Just water.
It's just like automatic. Or he gets to the line. Or he's throwing a lob to Chet. Or he's throwing a lob to Hartenstein. Or you shut that off and he kicks the ball in the corner to Lou Dort. Or he goes to the other corner to Isaiah Joe. So it's just, you cut off one thing, they just go to another. And then on the other side, everything is impossible on offense. They're just like a nightmare to deal with.
I'm so upset.
Try to tell you.
Wrapping it up on the just overall role player side of things. You spoke on Naz, spoke on Dante. Naz was 1 of 11, 0 for 7 from 3. Dante 3 of 12 from 3. 3 for 11 overall. Those 3 players 5 for 28 from 3. That would be role players, not including Randall and Edwards. Does that pendulum swing at all, or is that just a little humble Costco sample of what we're seeing on the role players because of the smothering Thunder perimeter D?
Yeah, I mean, we know the story. Role players play a lot worse on the road. They play a lot better at home.
This rest advantage, though, I looked at the numbers. You work with action.
Yeah.
I think it was since 2003, it was like a 29% cover for a home favorite game 7 on 1 day rest going into game 1 as a home favorite.
Yeah, it's all
they beat a number that nobody beats.
That's been a trend forever, and it's also a huge trend when you have home court and you lose the first game. The second game, you almost always win. With the situation the Knicks are in, you almost always win and you almost always cover.
So a little Thunder Knicks money line lay, cupcake with it.
Could be. Could be a good spot.
All right, well, shout out to Mr. Little. He's in the driver's seat. Thunder Wolves off of game 1. He's 3 away from eating at the Plaza. Come back for some more Juice Bar.
Juice Bar MSG Network. If you want the realness, the straight takes, come hang out with us. We go through everything from narratives to actual gameplay to breaking down numbers in the betting market. Alex Monaco, Sean Little, come hang out with us. Wherever you get your podcasts, you can get the Juice Bar.